The night sky hung like a shroud over Ravenswood Manor, casting long, ominous shadows across its crumbling facade. Crickets provided a mournful accompaniment to the creaks and groans of the old house, which seemed to shift and settle in its foundations with each passing moment. A chill wind rustled the dry leaves in the overgrown gardens, as if they were whispering dark secrets to one another. As I stepped out of my car and onto the cracked driveway, the crunch of gravel beneath my feet seemed to echo through the stillness. A heavy, suffocating air clung to me like a damp shroud, making my skin prickle with unease. I shivered, despite the thickness of my coat, and glanced up at the house, its windows like empty eyes staring back at me. The once grand entrance of Ravenswood Manor loomed before me, a foreboding portal to the secrets and terrors that lay within. A massive wooden door, adorned with rusty hinges and a heavy-looking iron knocker, seemed to bar my way, its presence both intimidating and beckoning. I hesitated, my heart pounding in my chest, as I wondered what lay beyond the door. The house's interior was a labyrinth of dark corridors and musty rooms, where the scent of decay and rot hung heavy in the air. I fumbled for my flashlight, its weak beam casting eerie shadows on the walls as I made my way deeper into the house. Every step seemed to creak and groan, as if the very foundations of the house were protesting my presence. A chill ran down my spine as I caught sight of a door, its surface cracked and splintered, with a heavy-looking iron lock hanging from its center. The door seemed to stare back at me, its presence both sinister and fascinating. I felt an inexplicable pull towards it, as if some unseen force was drawing me closer. The air around me grew colder, the shadows deepening and twisting into grotesque forms that seemed to writhe and twist on the walls. I shone my flashlight on the door, its beam casting an eerie glow over the surface, but the lock seemed to glint with an otherworldly light, as if it was alive. I reached out a trembling hand, hesitating for a moment before touching the cold metal of the lock. It felt heavy, solid, and somehow, malevolent. A shiver ran down my spine as I wondered what secrets lay beyond the door, and what terrors it might conceal. The darkness around me seemed to grow thicker, the shadows deepening into an almost palpable presence. I felt as if I was being watched, the weight of unseen eyes upon me making my skin crawl. I knew I should turn back, but something within me refused to abandon the door, to leave its secrets unexplored. With a deep breath, I turned the lock, the sound echoing through the empty halls like a death knell. The door creaked open, its hinges screaming in protest, as if the very fabric of the house was being torn apart. A musty, decayed air wafted out, carrying with it whispers and shadows that seemed to dance in the flickering light. As I stepped across the threshold, the door slammed shut behind me, the sound of its lock clicking into place like a cold, mirthless laugh. I spun around, but there was no one there. The darkness seemed to close in around me, the shadows coalescing into a figure that loomed over me, its presence both terrifying and familiar. I stumbled backward, tripping over my own feet as the darkness seemed to swallow me whole. And then, just as suddenly as it had begun, everything went black. When I came to, I was lying on the cold stone floor, my head throbbing with pain. The door was open, its lock hanging crookedly from the doorframe, and a figure stood over me, its eyes black as coal. But it wasn't a figure at all, it was me. I was the one who had been locked in the door all along, trapped in a never-ending cycle of terror and madness.